Paladins, my most played game ever. I love this game for many reasons, but it is a fact that it is dying. The players aren't what they used to be, and no one really talks about the game anymore, save for the community. But in this video, I'll be showing you why it isn't as popular as it could have been. Now, I've been trying to make this video for a very long time now, like a whole year at this point, and now that I'm actually doing it, I've come to realize it's a lot bigger than I realized. So I'll be splitting it up into two different videos. Think of it as like the new Dune movies. The first one is effectively setting the stage for the second one, which is where all the real stuff happens. So the final part of this video will be out soon-ish. With that out of the way, let's jump in. Why is Paladins not as popular as it could have been? At launch, it had some cool characters, not as many as they do now of course. It had interesting maps and game modes, and then interesting ways they handled their game modes. It had everything a new game would need to see at least some popularity, but Paladins never really reached that. If we take a step back, it's easier to see the bigger picture. Paladins is a 2018 game, though it had been going through beta much earlier. Overwatch is a 2016 game. I'll return to this in a second, but right now I need to explain a vital part in the story. First impressions are very interesting. If you have a bad first impression on someone, they might be the nicest, coolest person on earth, but it's still going to take a long time to trying to get rid of that bad first impression. For game developers, first impressions are like trying to win the lottery. If the first impressions are good, then you've just got yourself something to build off of. You're set, basically. If they're bad, then you just wasted a lot of time and money. I'm not saying it's beyond hope, but still, it's going to have a large effect on the game. The same goes for Paladins. The first impressions of Paladins were Overwatch clone, ripoff, bootleg, free Overwatch. This, of course, had a negative effect on the game, and don't get me wrong, the similarities were there. And that's not called hating the game, it's just a fact. When everyone is saying that a game is cheap or a ripoff, most people aren't going to play it. Some would be compelled to check it out, but that's only a very small percent. But the people who do look into it, looking it up at least, will only be met with the 2018 Paladins graphics. That right there would scare off a lot of people. Paladins wasn't and isn't as popular as it could have been because of the first impressions of the game. And as we had mentioned earlier, first impressions aren't something people can just brush off. But it's not impossible. Now, in all this mess, where is Paladins today? With not as many players as it could have had, it's trying to hold on to the one it has, but it's still going down. Now, it might look like there's no hope for Paladins. It already couldn't get as many players as it could have, and now it's losing the one it has, but Hi Rez does update the game frequently with patches full of new content. Like seriously, some of the best updates I've seen for a game. New playable characters with, especially these days, very interesting and unique designs and abilities. Battle Pass is full of stuff to unlock, including skins, emotes, sprays, victory poses, and a whole bunch of exclusive stuff. And on top of that, every 2 or so seasons comes a new addition to the game. Sometimes they're as big as a new game mode, a whole new system to how things work, and much more. Now, how could this game be losing players with updates like these? If I were to give you an ice cream cone every day, at first it would be amazing, but give it a month or so and it wouldn't be as exciting or interesting. At that point, it would become normal, and you might even want more or ask for something else with the ice cream. So then I would start adding different expensive toppings to ice cream. Peanut butter is the best thing to ever mix into ice cream, trust me. But I could only add these toppings once every week. So this could be enough. Some people might want more still, but this is a pretty good deal here. I mean, if I had free ice cream day, there would be no complaints in the world. Now, what if the toppings I added always had something wrong with them? Maybe I just mixed something up and it was disgusting, or I got confused. This little scenario I just gave you basically sums up Paladins updates. If Paladins got a new character every 3 months, that's awesome. Most people would get used to it and it wouldn't have the same amount of value. So they add special toppings, Trials of the Realm, into the mix. My point is, Paladins is losing the players it has because continually adding characters to a game doesn't just save it. You need a level of care and love for a game. You need to put at least some of what you get out of it back into it. There's a lot of talk over whether Hi Rez actually cares for Paladins. I could break the whole thing into a video if you want, but for now I'll just leave it to you. Throwing a new champion into a game doesn't just save it, but adding something big and new like the Trials of the Realm does much more. But on top of all of this, the cool features that Hi Rez adds to the game, the special toppings, so to say, they always have something wrong with them. I'll just use the Trials of the Realm as an example again. It was an amazing idea, and it fixed a lot of the problems in the game that I really hated and made me furious. But, some of the objectives it has you go through usually involve uninteresting characters who, especially for me, are not fun at all. And for those boring characters, you need to do impossible things, like killing a buttload of enemies while doing something that's just absurd or impossible. So Paladins isn't as popular as it could have been because of the first impressions. The first impressions being multiple variants of Overwatch ripoff. And Paladins is losing the players it has because of the updates they add are the same thing over and over again, just with someone new on the cover. And when they do actually add something that's big and does break the norm and get a lot more attention and hype, it's ruined by the fact that there's always something wrong with it. Now, some of the themes in this video came from you guys. I ask questions for me, my channel, and new videos all the time on our community page, so consider giving it a shot. Just remember that this is part 1 of the video, Dune number 2, or whatever you call this, number 2. I'm not gonna spoil it, but the next part is big. I've been really excited to make this. It's gonna be big. So be ready, like Dune 2 big. I mean, this is like gonna blow the box. Like, this is gonna be much bigger than freaking Dune 2, so be ready. I hope you have a great day, and remember, life is short. Play great games. Now, a couple days ago, I made a post on our community page. Go check it out because debunking ice cream pictures is one of the many things we partake of over there. And I made a post asking you for different videos you would like to see. And to my surprise, over a detailed guide on a character and over everything and anything else, it was a video about my thoughts. I mean, I don't argue because you just saved me hours of script writing and browsing the internet for scraps of data on a character who isn't even out yet.